So the election is off to the races, and I figure now is as good a time as any to do an update on what the heck is going on for those of you who can't keep up. There's a lot of information, and the most important thing that I think you gotta take away from this election is that it's going to be the stupidest one maybe in the history of Canada. That what we have are two parties, the Liberals and the Conservatives, who consistently pass the ball back and forth, offering absolutely nothing of importance to the populace while desperate to convince the populace that they actually care about their interests. So when this election was called by the Liberals, it was really obvious that they just wanted to skate right on through and snag their majority. Both the Conservatives and the Liberals, and the NDP came out saying, no, that's not going to happen, and reminded the populace that the Liberals were just interested in securing their majority. We all remember the Willy Wonka video. This dropped the Liberals in the polls a little bit, but what really hurt the Liberals as we move forward is that everyone realized, oh, wait a minute, these guys are not offering anything. Their platform is a shambles. They're not really addressing any of the structural changes that are necessary given the overt and obvious failures of neoliberal capitalism. And even more embarrassingly than any of that, the Conservatives were able to outflank them on the left. Really think about what it takes for a conservative party here in Canada, essentially a neoliberal death cult who denies the existence of climate change, who denies the need to actually, give a shit about the populace for the last 40 years, suddenly coming out and outflanking the Liberals on the left. How they did it? Oh, hey, there's a housing crisis. Maybe we should say something about resolving the housing crisis. One of the only promises that neoliberal capitalism has ever given anyone is that if you work really hard, if you sacrifice your life to billionaires you will never meet, then you will be able to buy a house. And now, here we are, and it turns out that's a total fucking lie. It's a complete and obvious grift that everybody in the society fell for. That now you've got doctors, lawyers, and engineers who cannot buy houses, even though they've sacrificed their entire life. And the Conservatives stood up before the Liberals and said, oh, hey, we should do something about that. And then the Liberals went, yeah, we're gonna do something about that too. We're gonna do something about that too. And then proceeded to just match what the Conservatives were already offering. So the choice right now between the Conservatives and the Liberals in regard to this issue is exactly the same. They are, as I have always said on this channel, allies. They are not different from one another. And they have allied with one another on the idea that, oh, we should do something about housing. Here's where it gets really funny though. What are they doing about housing? Nothing that matters at all. They're walking around saying, we're gonna build 1 million houses. Well, okay, build 100 million houses for all you care. The billionaire class is going to buy those houses up. We know that's what's going to happen. The billionaire class is already buying the housing. That's the reason why housing is going out of its mind, is because billionaires are coming along, buying up the supply, right? And hoarding it for themselves and manufacturing scarcity. This is what capitalists do. Remember how they did that with the diamond market, right? How they hoarded all the diamonds for themselves, created false scarcity and jacked up the price of diamonds? Well, same thing's going on with housing. Same thing's going on with every commodity, because that's how capitalists roll. And so this promise, I say grift, that the Liberals and Conservatives are running on us is very simply saying, yeah, we're going to build 1 million homes for the billionaires to own. It's not going to drop the price of housing. It's not going to do anything. Same story with the 2-year ban on foreign buyers. Yeah, okay, so I'm a foreign buyer, but I'm a billionaire, right? So I'm going to create a domestic shell company and buy through that, right? Story over. And even if I wasn't able to do that, a 2-year ban on foreign buyers, It's not going to mean a thing. It's not going to drop prices, right? Anybody who's looking to sell is just going to hold on to their property and just stabilize out until that 2-year ban is gone, and then sell to a billionaire for 30–40% more than you would get regularly, right? This is why billionaires are dangerous. This is why we shouldn't have billionaires. This is why, as the NDP have promised, they want to tax billionaires. They're not as, let's say, bold as I would like them to be. I would like to see a tax on billionaires to get rid of billionaires completely. But at least the NDP are walking around saying they're interested in taxing the billionaires. Interestingly, though, this narrative has completely disappeared from the discourse. That right away the NDP came out and said, we're going to put a tax on the billionaire class. We're going to put a tax on the wealthy. And everybody in Canada, 92% of Canadians are in favor of this, and then it immediately fell out of the discourse. It immediately dropped away, and instead we're watching two morons, Aaron O'Toole and Justin Trudeau, bicker over which one can deceive the population and deceive the gullible rubes in Canada into believing they actually care about this housing crisis when their proposals are doing absolutely nothing to ameliorate it whatsoever. And so what's the result of this? The Liberals have declined in the polls enough so that some polls are starting to come out with the Conservatives above the Liberals. This isn't the disaster that everyone is going to make it out to be. The classic gotta vote Liberal or else the Conservatives will get in, because the worst case scenario is a Conservative minority. And honestly, I think Canada could do for a Conservative minority so that they could see outright in black and white terms that the Conservatives and the Liberals are allies, that they work together, that legislation that passes through the House that the Conservatives propose is going to be done with the full pledge and promise and support of the Liberals. And what should we expect, both from the Conservatives and the Liberals? Hard-nosed austerity. That's what we should expect. Because remember, these parties are not actually interested in governing. They're not actually interested in creating a society. They're not actually interested in an economy. They are interested in giving money to billionaires. Full stop. Nothing else layered on top of that. No caveats. They want billionaires to have more money. That's it. That's the full extent of their job. That's what they're in power to do. And this week has shown that beyond the shadow of a doubt, because the Liberals are running the worst campaign I've ever seen, perhaps the worst campaign that has happened in Canada ever. They've offered absolutely nothing. They're not even doing the classic run on the left, rule on the right grift that Liberals run on the populace all the time. They're getting outflanked by Conservatives. That's how terrible it is. And in the meantime, the Conservatives are running around trying to trick everyone into believing they give a fuck about them. The Conservatives saying, oh yeah, we're the party of the workers. Yeah, we actually genuinely care about the needs of the workers all of a sudden, when we've got 50 years of history showing that Conservatives don't give a fuck about people at all. And the most embarrassing part about all of this is that the most popular candidate is Jagmeet Singh. When people have been polled over and over and over again about this, Jagmeet Singh, he's the popular one. He's the one that everybody likes. He's considered the most trustworthy. He's considered the most intelligent. He's considered the one that everybody looks at and thinks that he's got compassion, empathy, and he can't get votes. There does come a point where we have to start asking ourselves as a people, are we stupid? Are we dumb? Like, I'm not trying to say this to insult anybody. Well, except the people who are going to get really insulted by it. But really, there does come a point. We all think that this guy is the preferable candidate. Can't get any votes. What's the story? And he's the one actually offering something. He's the one who has a real platform. He's the one who's actually saying, hey, we should tax the wealthy and put in things like, I don't know, a basic income, to make sure that people don't collapse into homelessness, to make sure that we can actually recover from this failed neoliberal experiment, right? To make sure that we can actually move forward. But all signs are pointing to, yet again, a gullible and disconnected populace swinging over to the conservatives because the liberals have lost their favor, even though the conservatives have a long, long history of abandoning the populace to neoliberal fascists who are actively working to destroy this place. So, that's this week in a nutshell. We could do better. Obviously we could. But we're not clever enough. We're not smart enough, honestly. Like, we know that the billionaire class has taken this place over. We know that the billionaire class has taken the Liberal and the Conservative Party over. We know that both of those parties are offering nothing whatsoever. We know what the solution is. We just refuse to do it. We just refuse to do it. So, once again, it comes down to the average voter just being gullible and in some cases evil. It's cheaper to house people. It's cheaper to put people in homes than to keep them homeless on the street, but we prefer to pay more to increase their suffering. That's the Canadian way. Alright guys, this is the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe. I've got a Patreon down below. We've got to be supporting leftist voices. If you are here in Toronto and you are listening to this, come to my protest September 18th, 2 p.m. Yonge and Dundas Square here in Toronto. Please consider marking the date. Please consider coming out. We need as many people as we can to protest the spread of poverty that we have inflicted on our populace. And hey, if you care about the fact that housing prices are going out of control, well, guess what? Poverty and housing prices are twinned. They're the same issue. So please consider coming out. All right, guys, you are divine beings, standing in divine energy. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They spend billions of dollars to do it. Good luck. We're gonna need it.